Hello there and welcome to my garden. I'm Kate in the Nest and thank you for popping in and joining me today. I'm going to be working on one of my larger pieces. You know me, I go to whatever I feel like, and I've been doing quite a few smaller works, and I wanted to bring you up to speed on where I was with this piece that originally was the Garden Through the Window quilt. Is it that now? Certainly very different to the last time you saw it. But because it is Thrifty Thursday, and I talked about Sadie, my new thrifted sofa, on my recent video. I do want to share with you something, because we talk about learning from each other and sharing. At my workshop, the lovely Inga had all her bits and pieces organized in these beautiful containers. And I am not a person that likes plastic, but I think there is something that appeals about organization and seeing things beautifully displayed. So I popped in to Kmart on my way home. So this isn't thrifted, but I had looked up and they didn't have, Inga had the clear ones, and I saw that the local store didn't have the clear ones, but guess what? They had the pink ones and they were on sale. So I am excited and I just think, isn't this good? And I thought I would share what I want to do. I've got things like these stamps where I write my words like joy, etc. in this box that's not quite practical. And I thought, because we're starting to share our resources at the studio, and I thought, well, there's my letters, not in any order, but they could go in there always with my mini, what is stuck to that, with my stamp pad. And now this can live in a drawer beside me, and at any time I've saved space and I have access to these beautiful little stamps that stamp both on paper and fabric. So there we are. Just a little share. So that made me happy. I also keep watching people doing hexagons. I've never done a hexagon, but this piece keeps floating around my nest, so I'm taking that as a message that she was rescued from the sewing basket, still has the papers in. Not sure whether I meant to do anything more with that, but that's an idea. I have this that floated from my wearables, and I thought I feel like doing something big with that. And now to the drum roll. This was on a completely different blanket, and it started off as a panelled piece. So you might remember, but you probably won't recognize it because I chopped her all up. And the story is, this might help you understand, just all about being brave. And if she wasn't singing to me, there was something not right. So this was the corner that I was working on, and so it would have been up in the top right, and then I was doing the middle and the top left. But in the end, I think I decided that I was thinking about it too much and maybe overthinking. So I've harvested and I'm realigning all the bits, and that's already making me feel better. So the consequence of that, though, is that I've got these pieces on blanket onto another blanket, but it will be quilted at the end. And in terms of length, now, well, I was trying to show you, but I don't know, I've got a ruler here. I'm just going to do it roughly. 1, 2, 3. She's not any particular size. That'll mean anything. 3 feet and maybe 4 inches. But I'm feeling the joy because there are so many things on here that I like, but my left-hand top corner was very beige and without colour, and I loved, I mean, she might have been even like this. I don't know, but see, I like that. You're seeing that Sanderson piece all the time. Maybe could, oh, I know. Here we go. Here's the heart. Do you remember me doing that heart? So, have I even got that straight? I don't think I have. Oh yeah, I have. If that was the top. Okay. We're just going to keep evolving and being in the garden, and my gardens are quite wild and colourful. So there we are. That's the background. Love, love, love that. Love that. When that's embroidered, love these pieces and all these other original bits I could harvest. So where are my pink scissors? I would have liked to use them, but I only have the blue ones. Okay, so remember, we're keeping the integrity of the original, and the only thing I'm cutting here is my own stitching, but I feel like I have a lot more. I was trying to grow this one, do you remember, just from the corners, and it just didn't, yeah. So sometimes it does, and sometimes it just, rather than, I'd forgotten that I'd even, in fact, I had this, I wanted to take it on our sewcation, and I looked at it and didn't like it and started to chop. And then thought, don't rush it. Okay, so there's lots of lovely bits there. I see this bit as a separate. So there you are. If you've got any energy that you want to get out, I'm doing it for you. It's so good to cut and to prune. And I got that. I see, I still remember all these bits. Okay, so we'll see this now as another little separate. I'm only cutting my joins. A little flower there. And I know some of you really worry. I'm going to keep that. I think I'm going to keep all of that together, and it's just this little piece here. I think that all works together. So it's this little bright piece. And I'll just cut across there. So you won't be able to see the layout, but these are now individual and large pieces that I will use elsewhere. Just to share that combination of embroideries. And remember, this is the garden path that's reminding me of my heart, which must be out on the sofa. So a little update on Sadie the sofa. This afternoon, well, I worked last night in finding her a home, and then this afternoon I thought I'm taking my stitching up to the main room, and had a wonderful little sew, and my husband came home and said, oh, that looks so nice, you're stitching on the sofa. So that's a yes. So it may be the gradual takeover. So I haven't told you what I'm doing, but I have wool here and I am just filling in the gaps to get warmed up. If you've been with me for a long time, do you remember how I used to always start with just some cantha or running stitch just to help me get in the flow? So that's what I'm doing here. Finessing these messy stitches. And gradually filling in the blanks. I think the reason I'm excited about this, because I keep thinking back to my big one flower at the time. I didn't plan that in any way. The one thing that was in common was the vintage printed fabric tablecloths. And then I didn't even care what direction I was doing the flowers and joining them. So there's a lesson for me in that trust myself, and we all know what we love doing, and in the end we'll see how this one turns out. It may not work, but I've got confidence again now to just have her on my knee this afternoon and tonight, and we'll see where the stitching is taking you, or taking me. And I said that because I was thinking of you, and where is your stitching taking you at the moment? Are you in the flow, or have you got a pile of things? Oh goodness, that was my paints. Okay, now I want to let's fill in this for a bit, get rid of the thread in the nicest possible way, use it all up. And because it's variegated, the magic is happening. Sort of just like a huge stem stitch line that I'm taking down here. Okay. Oop. Pulled it too tight. And of course this will be backed, and then I'll quilt through it if that's what I decide to do with it, but we don't know. I'm thinking about, I can use some gouache and paint in here. A little bit of puckering there, so I need to go down like that. Okay, will we have a look at adding some of these other bits? Don't let me lose my needle. I'll put it in the nest over here, so yell at me if I... What have I got under here? Great. So, oh. So much fun to talk to you because I can make noises out loud. Okay, that's a little bit because I did a quick little get her down when I was trying out new pieces. There we are. That's firmer now. Is there a flower to flower? Oh, of course there is. I was going to say a flower to flower opportunity, and that's where it is. I think the other thing is I'm coming back to this piece after working on the friendship quilt, and because that grew and layered up in, you know, layer upon layer, of course, I was longing for that feeling again. Okay, so one more pin. Oh, this little bunny just lost some beads. So we will prune this blanket under here. Yep. I mean, I could probably take that even back more. Why don't I? This way we'll have different amounts of layers. Yeah, I like that. Because this flower was a bit lonely. And there's that beautiful braid. I'm only losing one bit. But actually, let's snip that stitch. And there we are. We have a natural join happening. So something will come over the top there, and I feel we've got more of a balance with our oranges and pinks up there. Obviously something very special has to go in there. I've got more of this somewhere. But not somewhere where I can find it now, but it may be. It's really a nothing spot. Okay, here we go. Protecting the embroideries at all points. It's only my stitches. I'm trying to preserve them as well. Yep. Okay, that is going to work. And how many layers have I got here? I'm standing up, mainly to get that sense of perspective. And I know you won't be able to have any idea of the height at this point, you know, the scale, but that time will come. Okay, so, yep. I like that pink joining onto there. This flower will not be lonely anymore. and we have green leaves talking to each other. I'll counter over this or French knot it. Sorry, I'm doing this a lot, aren't I? Okay, gee, I'm feeling much happier with that. I go into scrap pile. I've got this little one still to go somewhere. Do we want to add a pop up there yet? Or over here? It's also a little bit squishy. All right, what about these big flowers? What are you saying at home? Yes, yes, or no, no? I don't know, so let's just cut them out as separates. I can see that this green is more related to that yellow, chartreuse. So this is bark cloth that I got at the Sydney de-stash markets earlier in the year. And in fact, these flowers cover the majority of my winter wearable shirts. There's one. This one I'm going to focus more on the flower itself and leave the dark green but less of the light. And we don't need a lot of that blue. I'll just put that round like that. There we go. Oh, where was that little bud? Too hasty. Okay. What about the bud? It fell down there and that sort of was saying, let me grow. Oh, in here. In fact, there we go. We can follow. See how the flowers, they disappear when they're in the right place. You just go, oh, well, that was meant to be there. So what I'm noticing is the curve on this pink is echoed by the curve of that, and then it touches up to there, and we're gradually getting rid of the white at the back of this applique. So I'll just trim that there. Oop. So when you half pin, yep, and that's joining more easily onto there. Okay, so big things happening already because you're being with me. Okay, so we've got this huge Sanderson flower down here, and as a start I'm thinking of balancing be growing out that way, or into here somewhere. So we haven't got a diagonal, but we've got an off center. And what's there, in fact? No. Maybe that's a more natural, oh, you can't see it. A more natural flow there. We've got that little bit of stitching into there. A little bit over the top of that green leaf. Oh yeah, and that joining there. So flower to flower, branch to branch. Okay, that's a good start. All right, where are we going to have some fun with actually stitching? Depends what colours I've got in the nest. Which is a bit depleted. Oh, there's another pair of scissors. Oh, there's that lovely crochet. Let's just harvest a bit here. So what am I doing? You better see. Sorry. I've used flowers elsewhere, and it's leaving this little beautiful medallion here in the center, and then it releases that to be a trim, or who knows, in fact we can make a new flower of that. Take that away. Maybe not bright enough at the moment, but so much fun to play. Even joining. There. Keep burying these pins. And how about that? I said we were going to stitch. I will make that join somehow. And I've got a lot of work to do there, haven't I, to make that look like a flower. Okay, what are we going to do? I feel, that's how I started, wasn't it? We need some more colour over here. So let's go. This one's a bit hot pinky for me on this piece, so let's find that. I remembered that I put my needle over there. Oh, goodness. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's so annoying. Haven't done that for a while. Okay, what are we doing, Kate? We are joining this. I'm going to sneak up from the back. We are joining this bud of bark cloth onto here, and we're going to do it in running stitch. Why did I choose running stitch? Mainly because I could see that I'd done the applique stitch there, and I like to be different. It's very thick, that's why I don't like that applique background very much to stitch on sometimes. It's just, you notice the difference. That's a hard cotton, not a linen, and they're all different. Okay, so now I'm starting to outline this little bud. But my main priority now is to join. I'm sorry, it's hard to see and I'm making noises because it's quite thick. I want to start joining this to this larger piece with the purple on it. How many pins I've got around me. Oh, it's almost formed a little cross, which I don't mind at all. Take that pin out for the moment. And you might be able to see here where I was doing a lot of different stitching to get away from that white. I don't think that was particularly successful. So I don't mind that. I probably will either cover something over that, or I could start putting some of my own embroidery in brighter colours. But because we're on our way up, now we're going to get very close to this beautiful yellow rose. Try and do a straighter stitch there. She's beautiful. Imagine the hands that made her. And we'll just duck under to secure, catching a little bit of that doily lace on that side. There we go, and it even leaves me the opportunity to put a little bit of stuffing under there, or pin it down even more. And that's a story that will be continued. So for the moment, we'll just fill up this little white gap with some pink seed stitch. Different direction. And course I want her to sit down. What's that? We might just trim that away. Yeah, then she can join. So I've got to say this is better than weeding a real garden. But it certainly has that feeling of discovery of like where is this going to lead to? So let's take that off there. Pins everywhere, loose threads. What were we doing over here? Let me remind myself. That's right. Yeah, I need to pin that down there. So I've got a little bit of the yellow with that little peachy gold, that's fine. Put that up there. Okay, recap time. So already the garden has grown, and it may not stay like this, but I feel better because there's more colour. I've started to fill in some of the gaps, and you'll see how much this is shining bright on camera, but we will work on those. I've added a little bit to that embroidery there, and then up here we've got the garden extending. So all in all, from my perspective, not sure about yours, I've had a lovely gardening session this afternoon, and I am sure that I won't stop stitching this one tonight, so my work will flow, and when it's right, I'll be back to share where this one goes. So, as I often say, from my nest to yours, or from my garden to whatever you're doing, thank you so much for spending your precious time with me. I hope there's been something in there that has either made you smile, inspired you, or most of all wanted to do your own thing on your own works. So until next time, this is Kate in Nest. Bye.